welcome to my channel. I normally would not do a video like this, but a subscriber asked me a question on the video I put up today, and I intend to answer it. This is the second time I did this video because I just, you can be the subject of birds. I don't think she needs a 2-hour video. So I'm just going to go on the basics of what you need to know. So the first question before I get to your question is, should I get a bird or not? Understand this, birds are messy. Some are worse than others. I had a parakeet used to take his food, go up to his little suite and fling the food, and it'd be over. They can bite. They can draw blood. I have been bitten many, many times through the years by birds. So if you can't deal with that, you should not get a bird. If you can't deal with a mess, you should not get a bird. Second question, can I have a bird where I live? A lot of apartments aren't going to allow us to find the bigger birds because they're just way too noisy. There are some birds that you can keep in apartments like your teals. Parakeets, iffy, because parakeets are noisy birds. I was once asked, what kind of bird I can get that's quiet? My answer to that is a stuffed one, a stuffed toy one. All birds make noise, period. It's just some are more noisy than others. Some can be kept in apartments like your teals. Not your cockatoos, but your teals. Parakeets' lifespan is about 5 years. A teal's lifespan is about 20 years. In this video, I'm going to talk to you the difference between the two. I first recommend not the parakeet because it's not a good first bird in my book, because they can be very fragile birds. They can get sick really, really easy. The first good bird that you can own is actually a teal, a cockatiel. Now, the expenses of owning a bird. It can be expensive. One thing you have to understand is that parrots are a flock bird. So they tend to, well, first let me say this. Owning a bird is not like owning a cat or a dog. Even though you can't basically buy a wild-caught bird anymore. It is illegal. Thank you. Yay! To poachers to get them from the wild and sell them into the pets trade. And the reason for this is like your spring parrot. It is extinct in the wild due to pet trade. There's only a dozen left in the world, and they are in a breeding program at an attempt, which may be turned out futile, to try to save the breed by very wealthy Muslim gentleman who, that's what he does. He owns hundreds of animals. They're all animals that are in danger of being extinct, and his desire is to breed them so that they are not in extinction. Will the Sphinx ever be out in the wild? Probably not. Like I said, there's only a dozen left. So all the birds you're going to buy are domestically bred. So the question is, you know, you got to realize they do make noise. They are very, very messy. One thing I would do is to help with that. I would own the best vacuum cleaner there was around. It was Kirby. It was the only one I had that would actually vacuum up seed. I might have to vacuum several times a day because of the seed issue. If you can't deal with those, then a bird is not for you. Okay? This is, to me, is very vital. Parrot, is, like I said, it's not like your domestic dog. You're just, if they get sick, you're going to know it. When you buy a parrot, it still has all the wild instincts that their counterparts have, like on the stray and what have you. So flock bird, you know, your parakeets, your teals, whatever, they're flocks. This is what makes them such good pets for us, because they have an instinct for being in a flock. We are their flock. Not their pet, their flock. So they tend to hide their illness. So the time a bird actually showing symptoms, you have got a very, very sick bird and it needs to see a vet. And here comes the problem. The average vet cannot treat a bird. They just can't do it. They're not qualified. It's a no-no. They need to see an avian certified vet. Also, understand, I'm vlogging a little later in the day, so you might hear tenants in the background. That's just how it is. Okay. So they have to be either dealt with birds for 20 years plus or avian certified vet. Okay? They need to see a vet once a year. They can run $100 for the vet to check to make sure the bird is still healthy. So it does constitutes an expense. Now it's housing. You don't want a small cage. If you can go buy a cage at PetSmart or even Walmart or whatever, and they want to sell you a cage, and you might see each cage is inexpensive, and you say, oh, that'll do for a cockatiel up there. And their associates may even tell you that. You can't believe them. You want to buy the biggest cage as possible for your bird, because your bird's got to be able to move around in there. So you want to buy the most largest cage that you can possibly find, and don't go wasting your money on these guards that you put around the cages. It's not going to stop the food from coming out on your floor, because it is. Your first good starter bird is your cockatiels, because for one, they're going to live up to 20 years. They're going to tolerate first-time bird owners' mistakes. They are a little bit mixed in more money than, per se, a parakeet, which you could get maybe 20, 25 bucks. They run they can run to between 80 and 150. But you're better off spending that money. My philosophy is, if you can't afford to buy the bird, you shouldn't have the bird. Period. The other issue is, if you have a cat, you shouldn't have a bird. And I've had a lot of arguments over this, and the reason I say is cat saliva is very toxic to a bird, that even if the bird survives the initial attack, it's still dead. I actually had a friend ask why I didn't rescue this bird from a cat, and I said, my answer was, it wouldn't do any good. It's too late. And I usually get a lot of wrath, and I imagine I'm going to get it down here. I stand by it. And don't bother telling me, oh, well, my cat gets along with my bird just beautifully, da-da-da this. Oh, I seen videos on it, and let me say, I've seen those videos, and I cringe. I literally cringe when I see a parrot, little parakeet, being friendly with a cat. They think it's cute. That same cat will kill that bird. I don't know how many times I have heard bird owners tell me that, oh, I have a bird, I have a cat, my cat shows no interest in the bird, and then later on, they're online crying because they've lost their bird to their cat. Cat saliva is toxic to a bird, period. And I've heard that story so many times. I've lost my bird, I don't know, understand what happened. They were always so friendly. The other issue is, do you clip or don't clip? That is a personal decision. I always have my bird clipped. Now I clip my own bird's wings because I'm experienced. But your best bet is to go to a store like Our Feather Friends, where that's all they deal with. They do grooming, they sell cages, they sell food, so that is the best place to get it done. It's $5 to get their nails clipped, which the nails have to be clipped, but if you don't know what you're doing, you could kill your bird because they have a vein in there, in their claws, feet, whatever you want to. For this sake, we'll just say feet. It is kind of an artery, and unless you got quick stop right on hand, if you cut that bird could bleed out. This is why every bird owner, even when I did it on my own, I always had a thing of quick stop by my side, so that when I went to clip the bird's feet, if I were to cut that vein, I could put that stuff on there and it would stop the bleeding. The best bet, if you're not experienced in bird, is like I said, you go to an all-bird store, they could do it for you. So how do I choose, if I want a parakeet, how do I choose a parakeet? Or any bird? You don't want to go to PetSmart buy them. I'm sorry, you don't. You want to go to either look online for a reputable breeder. Now you may have to pay shipping. I know a lot of people are against that. I've never lost a bird to shipping. There is very strict rules on shipping animals on airlines due to temperatures. It has to be so each along the way in each state before they will do it. The breeder will take care of that. She will know, and you generally have to pay the shipping charges. Or you can go to if you're going to get them from a pet store, you want to go get them from an all-bird store like Our Feather Friends. I'm not pushing them. The reason I'm speaking of them, they are a local bird store here. I know them. I know they're reputable. They're safe. But you want to look in your city, see if you can find a pet store that's all birds. All birds. Okay? Because they're going to be more, they take care of the birds better, you're going to get a better quality of bird. Now on your parakeets, they have lines on their head that goes down to basically the nose, which is called a CE, I'll spell it because I can spell it better, I can pronounce it, CERE. The more lines they have, the younger the bird is, because as they get older, the lines tend to disappear till it comes down to the neck, although they don't completely. If it's past the forehead there, you have an adult bird. Parakeets can be visually sexed. A 10-month-old on the cere will turn a dark brown. Forgive the noise in there. We do have some inconsiderate people. Will turn a dark brown. Okay? A female At a year 8, the male seer, it will turn it blue, a light blue or dark blue, excuse me. A female will turn a dark tan. Sometimes they can be a light blue, which case, if you get a light blue, you're probably better off having a DNA sex. You don't have to go to the vet for that. You just, like I said before, you're looking for a store that's all bird, like our brother Friends has grooming, they do that. They will get the blood sample, they send it off. Do not try to, there's one site, there's only one company that does it. You can go on their site and they will send you the kit, but if you're not experienced in extracting a little bit of drop of blood from your bird, you don't want to do that. So you either go to the vet or to a grooming, and I would recommend there, because it's going to be about 40 bucks. It's going to be more from a vet. Like I can't stress you, if birds tend to hide their illnesses, like I just stated. So you always want to check their poop. Is it soft? Is it runny? Is it normal? If it's not, you got a sick bird, you need to take it to an avian certified vet. When you go to look at a bird, if the feathers are all fluffed up, stay away from that bird. Do not buy it because you feel sorry for it. You've got a sick bird. And the reason I know that, like I said, I've had birds since I was 13 years old. I'm 63 years old. I am an expert when it comes to parrots. Okay, like I said, the cage, you want to buy the biggest size cage. Now, what do you want in that cage? You're going to want several feed, and I will get into the issue of diets for parrots in a little bit. But you should have several in them. Their water dish should be away from their food dish. Otherwise, they're going to have food in there, and they're still liable to injure, because parrots will sit there and they'll go buy the water and they'll end up dropping it in. So you might want to change the water. The second you see it dirty, you want to change it. You don't want a sick bird. Purchase. You want to have them on several layers for enrichment. To give them, and you want them at a different thickness, which is good for their feet, their little nails, feet. We'll just call them feet for this video. And there, parakeets, yes, you'll want to put a swing in there. Same thing with your teal. With your bigger birds, no. It is important for birds to have toys. Really, although you can get bird toys at Walmart and such, they're not a good place to get toys. You want to get the proper toy. And you do have to consider a bird's beak, and if it's got little tiny pieces, they can break that, they can ingest it, and you can lose your bird. So you got to be careful. You don't want to overload them with a bunch of toys. So what I would do, I rotated the toys. I would put a couple toys in there, and then a couple months later, I would take those out. I would replace them with some different toys. Toys that they can actually tear up, like these paper toys type of thing, are great toys. They love them. They can tear them up. They're safe. The dye they use on the toys, you got to be concerned with, because they got good chemicals, and that's another thing in your home cleaning products. A lot of your cleaning products can be dangerous for your parrot, so you want to buy stuff that doesn't have a lot of chemicals in it. When you cook for your bird, please stay away from any kind of Teflon pan, because the fumes from the pans will be toxic to your bird, and your bird will die. Never buy a bird that you have to hand feed. I can hand feed a bird, but I'm experienced. And if the food is too hot, you could burn their crop. See, when a bird eats, they fill their crop. So and then it slowly digests and it goes into the stomach. And you could, if it's too cold, you could damage the crop. If it's too hot, you could burn it. I'm not gonna put pictures in here. I can find pictures to show you. It's too gross. It's hot. It's horrible. So I can't stress, do not allow anybody to talk you into, say, oh, I can show you how to feed a hand-fed bird. No. Even when I learned to do it, I learned from my friend who was an experienced bird. She did not let me hand feed them from days old, because when they got a little older, she taught me to hand feed. I can hand feed. And I have done on hand feeding. You want a fully weaned bird. You want one that has been hand feed, preferably. Although if you got one that hasn't, they can still be tamed. Diet. All birds need fruit. They cannot survive an all seed diet. I never gave my birds bird seed that you see for herds, you see in the grocery store. No, no, no. I would buy appropriate nuts, seeds, which I would get from the bird store, or I buy online, or featherfriends.com. You could buy food from them. I believe they ship. And you can find the proper size. You can email them. They will give you a recommendation of what type of seeds you need for your bird. That being said, so they would get their nuts on a daily basis, fruit, vegetables, twice weekly. Footnote on that is you don't want to give them fruit and vegetables, just leave it in their cage all day where it's going to spoil and your bird's going to get sick. So when you put it in there, you want to leave it in there maybe an hour, then you want to remove it. You don't want it spoiling in their cage. Even, this is kind of a shocker to you, meat. Yes, they will eat meat. My JoJo used to love to eat chicken. Tails, the part, they do need what they call mellets. Those you can buy anywhere. You can buy them at grocery store. You can buy them at PetSmart. I mean, any those places. It's not going to matter. But you don't want to buy bird seed from those stores. Like I said, you want to go to a specialized store. That is their diet. How do I know my bird's sick? You may not. Like I said, birds tend to hide their, if your bird's feathers are all fluffed up, you got a sick bird. The treatment for that, put it in a warm place. I had a parrot that I had a time with. It was constantly getting sick, and I was constantly put what I called my hospital room, which was in my bathroom, because I could put a heater in there on low heat, shut the door, keep it warm. I would give it bird vitamins, which you may want to put in its water anyways. It's usually in a liquid form. That bird, if you see a bird that's got, you go buy a bird that's all fluffed up, like I said, don't buy it, it's a sick bird. You don't have to go treat it. There's a thing what they call French molt. If the bird has that, you'll know it's a case where, see, a bird molts generally like twice a year. And if your bird is not losing its feathers and it's getting in the new feathers at the same time, what you got there is French molt. It's through improper diet, malnutrition. The remedy is that just give it nutritious food, vitamins, and that would take care of the French molt from it occurring any worse. But whatever damage was done to the bird, it's done. Now you get a bird that plucks. The first thing you want to do is take it to an avian vet to make sure the bird is healthy, because sometimes that could be as a result from an illness. Sometimes if the bird is healthy, then it's behavioral. Unfortunately, once a bird starts plucking, it's almost impossible to get them stopped. They do make things to put around their neck to prevent them from doing it. In a case like that, you just got to keep your house warm for them. Sometimes they can pluck so much badly that they look like a plucked chicken, and they pluck so much that they won't grow new feathers in there anymore. When that happens, it's permanent. You could try putting toys in there to distract it. They do make toys, they call plucking toys, to try to divert your bird from plucking itself. But like I said, once it starts, it is usually almost impossible to stop. Let's see, I've covered the cage, which you buy the biggest you can, and that can be expensive, people. You don't want to buy a $20 cage. I can guarantee you, any cage you buy for $20, do not buy used cages. Because the thing about cages, if you buy them used, you don't know what bird has been in there, what they may have, and you can put your bird in there unless you properly know how to sterilize, because you can't just use Lysol on it. It's got to be boiled. So you can't use Lysol on it. You can't use bleach. The bleach and stuff will kill the bird. Also, on cleaning, you are going to have to change your lifestyle. A lot of these cleaning products that you use, Pledge, all these things can be toxic. The fumes from them can be toxic to the bird. You've got to, best thing to clean with is vinegar and water. You want products that are free from chemicals and odors. It is great if your bird will eat when you buy vegetables, stay away from, because I forgot to mention that, no canned vegetables. It's a big no-no. You gotta buy fresh. If your bird will eat them, when you go to the store in the produce department, that's where you would buy it. Make sure you wash it in warm water and rinse it very clearly before giving it to your bird. If your bird would eat it raw, that is great, because some of the nutrients, as we know, when you cook vegetables and stuff, you can lose some of the nutrients. So if they eat raw, that's fantastic. But if you have to cook the vegetables, please stay away from any kind of Teflon pan. The fumes from it is toxic and will kill your bird. And it can kill your bird in a matter of hours. It's very toxic to them. The kind of fruits though, you want to stay away, vegetables you want to stay away from, you don't want to give them avocado. It is toxic to them. You can give them noodles. Don't give them avocado. It is toxic to them. No milk products, dairy products at all. Once in a blue moon, yeah, it's not. They can't digest it. And if you give them just a little taste of ice cream, no, it's not going to kill them. But if they eat too much ice cream, too much milk products, it can cause them harm. Janine, I hope I've answered a lot of your questions. The original video I did on this, it was 2 hours long. I think I've covered the basics. If you decide to get a bird, you need help finding one, and you're willing to, just let me know what town you live, city and town you live in. I'll try to find a breeder close to you for you. If not, I can find you a breeder. Don't look in the newspaper. I'm not, or Craigslist. Stay away from them. I'm not saying if you go to get an adult bird, somebody may have a bird they're trying to rehome. And the general rule is that if you get a new bird, you always put it, if you got existing birds, because you can never just have one, you want to put that bird in isolation for at least good 30 days before you even put it in the room. Room. And to answer your question, because birds are flock animals, you don't want to keep two birds in the same cage, because they're flocking. If you put another bird, they can be difficult to tame because they got the flock. So you want to have a single bird. If you have more than one bird, you want to have it in a separate cage. Okay? Some of the ginger, like your finches, that doesn't matter because they're not a pet bird per se. They're ornamental bird. Taming them. They're not a companion bird. The same thing with your canaries. Although if you want to tame them, you can. But they're generally for singing instead of companion. So if you have two of them there and they're strictly ornamental birds, you can. But if you want to, you get a canary and you want one that sings, you want a male, not the female, which the male is generally a bright orange, except for the mutations. I think I covered it. Janine, if you're going to get a bird, really, I highly recommend you get a teal honey. It may cost you $100, and that's just going to be for a normal gray. The females generally are less noisy than the male, but they're not a noisy bird that you got to worry about. They're not normal or known for wanting to pluck a lot. They're not known for wanting to bite people a lot, but they can. So if you can't deal with them biting, don't get a bird. But your teal are generally docile birds, and generally they're probably not going to try to peck you. To give you a little other knowledge, you got soft bill and a hook bill. Parakeet, teal, African grays, they are a hook bill because you'll see how their beak goes. It kind of goes down and it's two and it kind of goes like this. Those are hook bills. Your soft bills are not. They're like, you see the wild birds, how the beak is kind of long and it comes out like that? Those are soft bills. There are some parrots like your Tectoon, they actually eat rats. I don't own any kind of animal, I gotta feed another animal too, that's why I've never owned one. Anyways, I hope this has helped you out. I have my email. If you decide you want one, before you even buy one, decide what kind of birds you want. Email me at diamonddreamer58@AOL.com. I will help you choosing a cage. I will help you find a breeder. I will do anything I can help you with. We can actually video, Skype, Facebook if you want to, with any questions you have, once you get a bird, on how to tame it, and what have you. I'm willing to do that for you. I'm willing to do that to anybody. This video has been a thrill for me because I love to educate people. If I educate somebody and they decide not to get a bird, well, you know what? I've saved some bird from being in an unhappy home and ending up in a bird rescue. If you are a bird person, turns out you are a bird person, you can do all of that, hey, welcome to the bird community. and the bird would be going into a good home. If you decide a bird is not for you, there is nothing wrong with that. I applaud that. I would rather have somebody decide they don't want a bird and get one, be unhappy. The bird's unhappy. The bird is not, because they end up, the rescues are full of them, especially cockatoos, because don't get a cockatoo. They are known as a needy bird. You know, a person says, oh, I want a cockatoo. Oh, I want a cockatoo. They go get one. They give it all this attention, which is up they're in the burrow community, they're known as a needy bird. They love it, but then they get less of it because you're busy, you gotta work, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. They start to scream. And just if your bird screams, do not go to it. Bird screams, you go to it to try to quiet it down. You're not quieting it down. Because what you taught your bird, hey, I scream, they come. So he'll start to scream all the time to get you to come to his cage, to get him out, to get him quiet. You may think you're getting him quiet, you're actually encouraging it. And I know it's rough because when I had my African Gray, she went through a little stage like that, and I had to really hold myself from going to it. I wouldn't go to her cage when she was screaming, but as soon as she quieted down, then I would go to her cage. Because cockatoos do have to have downtime, where it's just themselves. It's more important in that bird, in any kind of cockatoos, than it is in any other kind of bird. Oh, talking. If you want to get a bird just for talking, I'm going to talk right now is why a person should get a bird. If the only reason you want to get a bird is, hey, they talk, it's a wrong reason to get a bird. It is wrong. I don't care what, you know, like your African Greys are the best talkers that is out there. If you want to know about them, go to YouTube, put in a search African Grey Alex Studies. Or just put the Alex Studies. It will come up. Unfortunately, the bird is gone. Many scientists hate this bird because the university wanted to find out how smart birds were. Did they understand language? Guess what? They do. Owning a bird is like owning a 2-year-old. Alex did have a vocabulary of 200 words or more, plus maybe it could, probably more. He knew how to use them appropriately. He could tell you more or less. One of his favorite things to do is he would tell the new research intern a toy he wanted. They go get that toy, they give it to him. He goes, I don't want it. He would send them out to get these toys. He had all his toys together, and he would look at them and laugh. So they proved it, and scientists, it proved him wrong, but they don't like him. But back to talking. Parakeets aren't really known for talking. Yeah, you're going to find them on YouTube because I'm not saying they can talk. They're just not really known for it. And even if they do, it takes a year or longer to teach them. And it can be difficult. It's not clear like the African Grey. Your teals do not talk. They are more of imitating. They can imitate whistles, knocking on the door, you know, sounds. So even if you get a bird that's known for talking, just because you get one doesn't mean. I have not many African Greys that can't talk. I do have a friend who has an African Grey. She's 10, 11 years old. She does not talk. She's never going to talk. Because generally how you teach them is you repeat the word to them, but 15, 20 minutes, several times a day, generally they're not going to. They just pick it up just by communicating with them, and they're gonna pick up what they want to pick up. Anyways, that's enough for today, because you know people are wanting to come in and cook. They're wanting to do stuff, And this is not the time of day I usually do video. I just did it for Jeannie. And because she asked the question, I got excited about it. So happy diamond painting, happy birding, and I will catch you later. Bye-bye.